Hello, my fellow hunters. It's time for arbitrary lists.
Everyone loves lists. Yeah!
And we're going to do something a little bit different. This isn't simply going to be, I like these monsters, can we have them in the game? No, having played World, having married World, I feel like I know the nature of it. But no, one cool little DLC idea, especially for a little mini G-rank injection, I think would be, here's one new monster per map that adds some much needed diversity and spice to the existing creatures. So as such, these are going to be monsters that I think make the most sense, make the game the best, not necessarily my favorites. And as such, you might be a little bit, but trust me, okay? Because I will tell you what I want, what I really want. I wanna really wanna justify it well. If you want old monsters, they gotta make sense. Starting then with the Wild Spire Waste. We are gonna go for Cephadrome. Likes that trash fish. Oh my word, he is honestly in contention for the worst monster in every respect, full stop. So now I was very tempted to also choose Nibblesnarf, as I think he's awesome. So I'm gonna go for Tigerstripe Zamtrios. Now he is a subspecies. The original Zamtrios is a shark frog. He's an amphibian. I mean shark frog. We're already on the right track here, aren't we? And he lives in the frozen waste. He's a very cool individual, has ice armor growing on him, and is just beautiful in a oh my god, I'm gonna die kind of way. But his subspecies, Tigerstripe, lives in the desert, and you might be thinking, don't we need the original if we're gonna have the subspecies? Well, why? I think it would be really neat to have a monster only represented by its subspecies. It's easy to say only the subspecies is adapted for the environment. So Tigerstripe then, very similar to his normal form in original Zamtrios, he has powerful back legs like a froggy amphibian would, and a jaw that can crush rock, and is aggressive as you might imagine for a monster based on, you know, a huge-ass shark. But that's not really the main catch with this guy. He has huge strength, leaping about the place, slashing you, a tail that supposedly can kill any prey in one hit. It sounds like he came up with that himself. Like, hey, yeah, researchers, haha, I totally could kill anything in one hit, haha. What's that? You want to know my favorite TV show?
Half shark, half man, fighting evil, that's the plan.
But that aside, he's got super rough skin that can make you bleed to the touch thanks to him constantly surrounding himself with rough sand, and his main signature move, which the original can do but he does better, is to immediately increase the volume of liquid inside him to absurd amounts, allowing him to turn into a shark frog balloon. I love it! Does that not scream a unique niche or what? He's honestly one of the most unique monsters across the entire spectrum. He would be more strong. He'd dominate Baroth and Geratados, but still not quite match up to Diablos, giving him a nice kind of niche in terms of his place in the waste. And just imagine him having a turf war with Diablos, leaping around him, trying to get those bites in, being thrown back by the horns, maybe going in inflated, and Diablos' horns pop him and send him sinking down to normal, and him running away with his supposedly unstoppable tail between his sharky legs. But yeah, while he is inflated, he can bounce like a space hopper, and he's able to crush rock and, well, hunters with the impact, and eventually, once he's had enough of trying to crush you with huge bulk, he will expel all of the liquid that inflated him at huge speeds in a cutting beam that really hurts. He can also expel paralytic liquid to inflict that status on top of Waterblade, and he's an all-round champion of a monster, and I really like his armor armor too. I think he would totally fit. He looks natural enough to fit in with World's more realistic themes, and I think he'd be a wonderful addition that would really stand tall as a very cool bit of spice added to the sands. So yeah, Tigerstripe Zamtrios. Now, I do want to point out, I'm aware that World is very much following the trend of only monsters that fit existing skeletons, but quite frankly, doing that route is gonna turn into a drought of boringness very quickly. To add meaningful diversity, you have to look outside the existing archetypes in the game. You just have to. So with that said, moving on to the forest, well, this one might be no surprise. It is Naga Cougar. I adore him. He has that sweet panther, a master of stealth, to the point that there's a version of him that can go literally invisible, but we're going to focus on the OG. He is a champion of a ambush predator, able to move almost silently with his fur instead of shell, allowing him to slink through the forest with incredible precision and agility, his blades across his body and tail, allowing him to cut through the undergrowth like one hell of a natural machete, giving him speed and grace to chase down any kind of prey that he would want, them struggling in the undergrowth and him effortlessly flowing through it. Now, he is incredibly good at being hidden. He also has exceptional hearing. You know that cliche in movies where someone stands on a twig and it makes a snap and everyone's like, well, with Naga around, that's essentially the
Attention! I am ready for a disemboweling! I am here! Thank you! You may eat me!
alarm, so good luck with that. He also loves fighting. He's not super like bloodthirsty aggression, he just really likes a good scrap. He lives for the thrill of battle, fighting just because it's fun. So those things combined, well, I have alluded to this before in other little talks, but I will not rest until this is a reality. I want a hunter-hunted mechanic. So, unless the hunt is specifically for Naga, then you know there's one on the map, but if it isn't, well, he doesn't show up as one of the free monsters it says there is. He actually replaces one, but you don't find out till you bump into him, so tracking him like normal would send you to the right area. But he wouldn't just be sat there out in the open like other wyverns, he would be hidden somewhere, maybe a little bit out of bounds, maybe up a tree, and then you have a little bit of cat and mouse. There's a slight little... As you're aware, you're being watched. And if you find him first, if you go, hang on a minute, I can see those red eyes in the underground. Oh god! He leaps out and the battle begins roaring at you and the fight proceeds normally. But if you don't find him, you get close enough to him without realizing, maybe he's almost silently slinking slowly down a tree, and you look up just in time for the pounce, the roar, and then suddenly you are in a grapple-grab attack like when Devil Joe picks you up in his mouth, and he opens up with a vicious starting move. How much fun would that be, having this cat and mouse true stealth game with a monster and not quite knowing which one of you is going to come out on top? Imagine hunting something different when all of a sudden a Naga bursts out of nowhere. Previously, how did I miss that? He was there the entire time, not artificially invisible, just incredibly well hidden, stealthy and silent, and he leaps from his hiding place and either goes for you, the hunter, or he decided to prey on what you were fighting and ends up in a turf war or just doing a number on it. And a turf war between him and Rathalos, who he'd be about equal to. He would fight for apex status, he could whip his thick muscle-like tail. It's essentially just a trunk of muscle, like a snake's body. Hell, he can even rattle it like a warning, and he can swing it round with deadly force that can shatter bone, break trees in half. His tail is his mightiest weapon, but he can also detach and can fling razor-sharp spines from it that could puncture through Rathalos's wing to bring him to ground to start the turf war, they'd likely draw and realize it's not worth fighting each other, but it would be real cool. He would fill a mechanic that's just not present, he'd fill an archetype that's just not present, and add this really awesome new threat, new intensity to being in the forest. You never know if you're being watched. He's also one of the most natural looking monsters to me, almost one of the most believable, despite his lovely glowing red eyes when he's angry being just badassly intimidating. But yeah, I'd love one day to see Nagas creeping around the forest in World's Fidelity. The Coral Islands then, this one was probably the most difficult because really it's a very unique environment, a brand new archetype to the series, and every monster on it is very unique and honestly somewhat pretty in their own way. Legiana is obvious, but even Palumu and Titsu, the handsome Flash Bro, has a lot going for it in that direction. Now, the obvious choice is Mitsune, right? Pink Beautiful Leviathan, yeah, whack it on the Pink Beautiful map, sorted, my job's done, I'll see you later. Oh, this is easy. Oh, I'm wasting my life. The thing is, Mitsune just doesn't work. The terrain is not in its favor. There's not enough fish, there's not enough water. It simply would not thrive. Probably not even survive. So I've actually gone for maybe a little bit of a curveball here, but I think Malfestio would work wonders. It's essentially a huge, beautiful blue owl, and I love owls, but it firstly would have plenty of places to nest. It is a highlands area, there'll be loads of nooks and crannies it can safely sleep. It's nocturnal, whereas the other animals present aren't, so it has its own little niche there, and could quite easily, aerially, as it silently glides using its specialized scaly feathers to hunt Rathalos, much like Legiana, and really there's nothing they could do about it. It could probably have quite the good go at preying on a Titsu too. It would lose to Legiana, have quite a little even match with Palumu, and honestly, look, so Malfestio can use its scales. Essentially, it's represented as like a dusty cloud in the air, but technically it's its yellow scales doing it, but it can hit you with this and confuse you, sending you into a reversed control state, and it's like, I don't know where I am. So imagine a turf war with Palumu where it uses this to avoid the fight, because it's quite a sensible, clever monster. No point unnecessarily injuring itself, and then Palumu's like, no, I'm gonna get you. Wait, why am I over here now? Oh, where is up again? What? Whoa! And he's just wobbling around the place and maybe deflates in the wrong direction and goes flying off all wobbly, doing the injured fly animation, but not actually injured, of course. I think that would just be adorable. So, Malfestio then has a lot of cool adaptations. Firstly, it looks amazing, right? When it's angry, its head feathers stand on end, its wing blades get revealed, it glows with a blue iridescent pattern as it holds it straight out, appearing to look bigger and more intimidating, forming the pattern of an eye, a classic animal defense you can find on a myriad of species, and it just glows in the gloom as he hunts at night and looks magnificent. Definitely pretty enough to fit against the backdrop of the lovely pink coral trees. His eyes glowing red with fury as well. He's really awesome. So he's got the physical attacks, the feet claws, the wing blades, that's all good, but he also has a little bit of an extra trick. He has the ability to produce liquid which will send you to sleep. It's narcotic from his specialized sleep organs. So what it can do is it will vibrate its scales in order to turn this liquid into vapor, and then it will essentially fire it at you, and it kind of is represented by a blue beam, and it will put you to sleep. It's really a beautiful way to die. It's an efficient predator, as efficient as owls are in real life, and I think it would fit in really lovely in the Coral Highlands, giving us something that is just unlike anything else in the game. And the cool thing is, they're a little bit partial to carrion, so you could easily argue for a Malfestio following a Legiana corpse down into the Vale and having a weird clash of environment and animal aesthetic there too. So that would add a little bit of an option. I really do adore this monster, and I could talk about it all day, but I have a feeling that you couldn't listen to me talk all day. It's fine. It's fine. I know I'm only good in small doses. It's okay. Next up, then, we have the Elder's Recess, and this one... this one was probably the hardest, because there's just not a lot that wouldn't really directly clash with something there. I don't just want to throw on another fiery flying wyvern like Rathalos or Basilgeus. I don't just really want to put in a explosive brute wyvern like a good old Brachydios Mios, although I adore him, but I'm not sure he would quite work. But in my dream, yeah, I love me slime explosion boy. Look, I hate Levisioth. I think he's uninspired, I think he's lame, I think he's a pain to fight, and quite frankly, he can just fuck off. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to put the much superior fiery lava swimming monster on Agnactor. Now, yeah, this, out of all on the list, is most similar to an existing monster, but whatever. Agnactor is amazing. He had the lava hardening armor before it was cool. The Levisioth can clack his beak together, making these almost revving sounds, and then fires a magma beam out, coiling round, sliding on the lava too. Levisioth, give it back! As he has this beautiful, graceful aesthetic, this lovely fiery fin he has on the back to help him properly swim. He really pulls off, honestly, being a quite believable monster, outside of, you know, the whole swimming in lava thing. He's highly resistant to fire, as you might imagine, and I did also think about Gravios, but like, nobody wants to fight Gravios. Though a giant, mostly ground-based rock shell wyvern could be a little bit cool. He's definitely bulky enough to have his own niche. Maybe I should choose Gravios. Maybe I'm letting my own personal preference get into this. I don't know, but fuck Levisioth, alright? This one I'm having. I'm sorry, but I really dislike him. I just don't like it. But there's not really much to say about Agnactor. He's got his physical attacks, he'll try and slam into you, he's got his awesome beam, he's got his armor mechanic. He just is much better Levisioth. Everything Levisioth do, well, Agnactor can do better. They essentially could form Monster Hunter's first duet. Anything you can do, I can do better. Ha! I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Clack, clack. Sorry. Look, this entry might be lame, but I don't care. Agnactor's awesome, and he deserves to exist, and Levisioth can go die. Cool. Moving on then, finally, to the Rotten Vale. Look, I'll talk more about Agnactor in a later video. I needed that one, okay? This one, you might be able to predict. It's the perfect monster for here, and out of all variety we could have, what better than a giant, terrifying spider? Scylla. Scylla. I like Scylla, but I accept that it could be Scylla. This thing is freaky. Oh, creating giant webs, sneakily hanging from them, hidden, waiting for prey, like, you know, a spider, but ginormous, black of scale, well, I guess chitin more accurately, with these lovely little orange bits, able to extend to grasping claw-like appendages from its mouth as they burst forth, as they attempt to cleave you in half like a pair of natural scissors, able to inflict poison, extra potent poison. It can put you to sleep, it can web you up and slowly drag you into its mouth to death, able to go on the ceilings and walk to all the places you would expect a spider to be able to walk, and it likes to wear the skin of other monsters, you know, so it could all be like, high five, Val, I like your fashion sense, and they'd be best of friends. Now, the monster that it likes to wear the skin of is a Gypceros, a rubbery, stupid-ass chicken bird that we don't need to talk about. But you don't need to add that to make it work. There's a subspecies of Scylla that wears a different stupid rubbery monster, but slightly better than Gypceros, and the skin that it wears gives them the power. And because of the Gypsros, it gains poison. Because of the other one, it gains paralysis. So, paralysis, what could this Scylla wear the skin of? I mean, Gyros. It could easily hunt Great Gyros by the ton and drape herself in the skin and adopt the paralytic qualities. So you have this huge spider making these creepy nests of webbing across the rotting bone and flesh, crawling on the ceiling of the veil, and at any moment can descend and grab you. I mean, would she not fit perfectly? Able to take on Carrion too, she could thrive in the Veil, fitting in crevices and crawling to places that the other monsters couldn't even get to. And while Odogaron could give her a good run for her money, she actually could be in contention for, well, top dog, as it were, though I think technically Odogaron would retain Apex status, but either way, she has some potency to her, and I just think the creep factor of giant terrifying spider in, you know, the corpse pile zone, that just has to happen. She is so quick. If you blink once, you will open your eyes to find her stinger penetrating you deeply. In fact, probably so deeply it's come out the other side because it's really long and you're a thin human, so she'd have to have really precise control over that thing, which admittedly she does, but you know, it's very easy to over-penetrate. Either way, the abdomen depth of a spider is not relevant to the current situation. She's incredibly powerful, quick, has claws that she can swipe you with, and she's just a whole bag of tricks on 8 legs, and aesthetically would add something wholly new to the game. Obviously, I think we all miss the insect monsters, shout out to the Celtus Queen, and I think there's undeniably a place for her in the Veil that makes, oh, too much sense. Imagine the introductory cinematic, seeing a Odogaron being webbed up, screeching in pain before she suddenly descends into view. You could only see the web and the squirming dog before, and then plunges her stinger into it. He whimpers and then falls limp and silent. She attaches it to her nest and descends on a single strand before doing her insecty version of a roar at you, and then the battle begins. Oh, even imagining her turf wars would be incredible, covered in the black and yellow of the Gyros skin. Aha! So yeah, there, if push comes to shove, out of the 100 monsters that came before, if I had to choose one to add the most new fun diversity to the game, one for each zone, I think thems would be my choices. So let me know what you thought, let me know if you agree, and yeah, let's get some lovely discussion going. For now, my name has been Josh, I will see you soon. A goodbye. Oh, and let me know if you would like more of these. That would be cool as well, because, you know, I love any excuse to talk about any and all things monsters. Good times. Good times. Hey, what's this, like, sticky, silky thing forming? Oh, no.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.